So here's the help guide to the first foundation homework paper. In question 1, you need to remember that to turn centimetres into metres you should divide the number by 100. For question 2, it was the third of the hour that tripped most people up. A third of an hour is 20 minutes. Question 3, corrected 2 decimal places means that you're going to be cutting off after the digit 3. Then use the 4 to decide how that's going to change the rest of the number. To turn a decimal number into a percentage, you should times it by 100. A few people put 7% as the answer. That's not right. Work out negative 2 to the power of 5. Remember, this is negative 2 times by negative 2 times by negative 2 times by negative 2 times by negative 2. The answer isn't negative 10. This question was fairly well done, but most people missed out this word here, even. We want the largest 4-digit even number that can be made, using each card only once. In question 7, the best answers I saw to this were either bar charts or tally charts. If you're drawing a bar chart, there are a few things that you have to do to get the marks. Firstly, make sure that you've counted up each animal correctly. Secondly, between each bar should be a gap. So your finished bar chart should look something like this, and so on. Okay, you must have a gap between the bars. Secondly, where you're putting the frequency up the side, you need to label that as the frequency. And if you're putting the pets across the bottom, you should give that a label of type of pet. No great problems in question 8 or question 9. The only mistakes made in question 9 were just basic arithmetic mistakes. If you've got that question wrong, you need to go back through your numbers and just check that you've done the right thing. So in question 10, you have to decide whether the jewellery bag will fit inside the compartment. Problem being that this is all in centimetres and these are all in inches. So in order to make that decision, you're going to need to turn either these into inches or these into centimetres. So you can do that by either timesing the inches by 2.5 to turn them into centimetres, or dividing the centimetres by 2.5 to turn them into inches, and then use those numbers to help you compare the two. No particular problems with question 11. Again, biggest mistakes were just people adding things up wrong. Just remember, by the time you get to the end, all of these should add up to these totals, and similarly coming down, all of your totals have to be correct. If they're not, something's gone wrong somewhere. 44 to 92 is the ratio. You get 1 mark for saying 44 to 92, but you need to simplify that as much as you can. So just keep dividing by the biggest number that you think will fit into both of those until you can't go any further. If you've lost marks in question 13, it was generally a basic arithmetic mistake. You can see here that the sequence is going up in 4s. Just check your numbers just to make sure. To work out the 11th term in the sequence, you can either keep going up to term number 11 or use the nth term to help you find that. Question 14. I think only one person out of the 16 of you picked up marks on this, and that is because 15 of you missed this word, estimate. When it says work out an estimate for the amount that Tom pays, that doesn't mean use the exact numbers. It means make the numbers a bit easier to work with. So for example, 5.3 pence. Well, it would be easier if that was 5 pence. 42.2 units. It would be easier if that was 40. And then use those numbers to do your calculations with. Question 15. So there's a few ways of doing this. Your first job is just to decide how many paving slabs she's going to need, and then to compare that to see if she's going to have enough. So the path is going to be 0.5 metres wide, and each paving stone is 0.5 by 0.5 metres. So we can see they're going to sort of fit nicely in this path around the outside of the lawn here. Your next job is just to decide how many there are going to be. Well, if you look at this in sections, so here's your first section here. Now that's 6 metres across. So you're thinking how many 0.5 metres will fit into 6 metres? Well, that will be 12. Do a similar thing here. This distance here is 4 metres. How many 0.5 metre slabs can you fit into 4 metres? You've got another section of 6 here and another section of 4 here. And then the last job is just to include the slabs that you would need to make up the corners. Count them all up and decide if she's got enough. For the area of this shape at the bottom, most people manage to split this up but then just weren't quite right with the numbers. If you're splitting it this way, you've got a rectangle that is 3 centimetres by 10 centimetres. And then just be careful, what you've got left here is 3 centimetres, but it's not by 7. 7 is the whole distance. We know because these two sides here will be the same that this is 3. So just have a think about what would be left here to make this back up to 7. Area of the rectangles then added together will give you the total. Question 17 was fairly well done. The people who went wrong ended up with a translation up here somewhere. Just remember that the number on top is about left or right, and the number on the bottom is the number for up or down. For question 18, in order to compare these, you're going to need to work out how many marks Selma got and how many marks Wendy got. So you can work out the number of marks that Selma got by thinking about what maybe 10% of 40 is, and then perhaps 5%, and using those two numbers to find out what 35% is. To work out how many marks Wendy got, I would think about what 1/8 of something is, or what 1/8 of 40 is, and then using the 1/8 to find 3/8. You can find 1/8 of something by dividing by 8. Question 19. Work out the smallest amount of money that Martin needs to spend on milk. You must show all of your working. So the first thing is just to decide how many pints he's going to need. Well, half a pint a day for 10 days means he's going to need 5 pints of milk. So there's, without buying more milk than he needs, there's a few ways of doing this. You could think about 5 lots of 1 pint, 5 lots of 63p. I suppose you could buy 1 2-pint bottle and 3 1-pint bottles. That would be 1 lot of 89 and 3 lots of 63. Or you could buy 2 2-pint bottles and 1 1-pint bottle. So 1 lot of 89 and then, 2 lots of 89 and then 1 lot of 63. And you need to look at each of those combinations and decide which of those is going to be the cheapest. In question 19b, explain how this might affect the amount of money he needs to spend. So don't say here that it's going to need more milk. Tell me about the amount of money that he will need to spend. Question 20. So just follow the steps like we normally do to leave t by itself. Take away 11 from both sides and see what that leaves you with. And then divide by 3 and see what that leaves you with. Question 21. Most people went wrong here because they didn't pick a prime number. Here are the first few prime numbers for you to choose from. So you could have 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 and 17. Here's a hint, the first number is one of those. And just remember that the sum of the 3 numbers, the total of the 3 numbers, is greater than 57. Okay, question 22. So the key here is that it's telling you that Emily got £80 more than Liam. So we're going to need to just look at the number of parts that each of those people got. So we've got Liam, Sarah and Emily in that order. Liam, Sarah and Emily. And we know that Emily got £80 more than Liam. Now Emily got 7 parts and Liam got 2. So have a think about the difference in the number of parts. Emily got 5 more parts than Liam, she got £80 more. So 5 parts is worth £80. I would use that to work out what 1 part is, and then use the 1 part to work out the 3 parts that Sarah got. Here's another question where people read or didn't read one of the words. 1, 2, 3. There are 5 words in the sentence and you didn't read this word. Estimate. Work out an estimate for this calculation. So again, make these numbers easier. And then just remember the order of operations. The calculation isn't 5 plus 2, which is 7, and then times by 749. Follow the order of operations. Question 24, find an expression in terms of x. So we know that all of these numbers have to add up to 1. So your expression is basically going to be 1 take away 0.3, take away x, take away 0.1. And then you'll be able to simplify that down. Question 25. So work out Lynn's average speed from London to Sheffield. Use the speed distance time triangle. Use that to help you work out speed by covering up speed and seeing what you've got left to do. A lot of people were close in 25b, but the key is explain how this could affect your answer. So to part A. Now your answer to part A is about speed, so you need to say something in here about how it's going to change the speed. Don't tell me about the distance or about the traffic. Tell me about how this is going to affect the speed. Question 26. Did a very similar question to this in the Grade 8 lesson on Friday. So I'm going to leave that one to you. A bit like question 27, your Venn diagram. So just remember, make those circles in part A nice and big, and all 3 should overlap each other, so that you've got space in each of those intersections to put numbers in. Question 28 generally was done fine. Most people went wrong by thinking that -4 times by -7 is -28. That's wrong. Question 29. Factorise completely. 2 marks for this. I would start by something like this. X is a common factor of both of those terms, so take it outside the brackets and then have a think about what's going to be left inside. You may then be able to factorise what's left. And that's it.